Hi, everyone. Welcome to Finding Your Why, a YMCA of the North Shore original podcast. My name is Maria Spencer. I am a digital and creative assistant here at the YMCA of the North Shore. And today I am joined by two of my lovely colleagues, and we're here to talk about the time of year. It's winter, it's the holiday season. It can be a time of upheaval and stress, but also a time of joy. So we've assembled the mental and physical wellness dream team of Ranjeev and Laurie-Sue. Thank you guys for being here today. Ranjeev is our Executive Director of Mental Wellness, and Laurie-Sue is our Association Director of Health and Wellness. Welcome, guys.
Great. Thanks, Maria. Nice to be here.
Thanks, Maria. It is. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Okay. So just starting off, why do you think this year is so hard for people?
Yeah, so for me, I think there's this interesting confluence of both the winter and the holiday seasons. And I know especially in New England, winter can be particularly hard because we have shorter hours of daylight and limited sunlight can negatively impact our mood. A lot of folks here struggle with seasonal affective disorder as well. And the holidays, I think, as Maria mentioned, can be joyful and it also can be stressful. We are dealing sometimes with family dynamics that could be dysfunctional. There's this increase in consumerism. It's also a time where a lot of us experience loneliness and even grief if we've lost somebody we love. So I think it's a lot of mixed feelings this time of year.
I think we always try to fit in so much, and it's such a busy time that it can be overwhelming, at times too, which is, it's difficult. It's difficult to stay with a routine and a schedule during these times. And I think that we often thrive when we do have schedules and routines. I think we're at our best. And I think when we have lots of different things going on the holidays, especially, it's hard to juggle everything. And I know, finding a time to take care of yourself can be often difficult, which just, I think, adds to the stress as well, right? So
what are some of the ideas or strategies that you two have, both on the physical wellness side and the mental wellness side, for making this time of year easier for people who may be struggling?
Absolutely. I think for sure with the season changing and it's getting colder and darker earlier, it's really hard sometimes to find that motivation. I think the biggest thing that I would say is, oftentimes we say we don't have time, especially during the holidays. And I always say, instead of looking at it that way, there are certain things that, try to make time for things, which ultimately gives you more time in the long run because you're more present, you're less stressed, you're not as tired. So I think, even during a busy time, even when the seasons start to change, it's, still sticking with that schedule as best as you can, and when you can't, readjust and, fit things in a different way. Like, I don't have time for my, regular workout today, but I'm going to schedule 10 minutes, in between meetings or, a couple of times a day just to get up and move around, find movement. So I think that, it's also being flexible during this time and realizing that it doesn't always have to look the same day to day, figure out a way to adjust and be okay with that. Yeah. Give yourself a break sometimes,
That reminds me of this concept of wellness as being a journey. And that's something that we've been talking a lot at the Y, that it's not a destination or a fixed point, but it's really a process. And I think just like you said, Laurie-Sue, even if it's just a 10-minute walk or a 1-minute mindfulness exercise, I think thinking about it as this journey, it's less about being black and white and more as this process and a lot of self-compassion. I love Laurie-Sue's idea of just the routine and the structure. I find that when I have a structure and routine, I spend less energy trying to make a decision. And I think a lot about there's this concept called the circle of control, where you really try to figure out what do I actually have control over and what do I have to let go. And I think about the things I can control. I can control my attitude. I can control my words. I can control my actions. and really where I put my energy. And I really try to focus on those things and really thinking about the basics. Am I getting enough sleep? Am I eating well? Am I staying hydrated? Am I trying to exercise on a regular basis? Spending time with people that I care about. I really sort of kind of nail down those priorities first and really focus on those.
I also feel like too, around the holidays, there's definitely a lot of discussions about eating and, oh, I ate 2 gingerbread cookies. Now I need to run 5 miles to burn that off. And I was just wondering, like, if you could touch upon kind of like self-care when it comes to physical wellness and health and diet.
Yeah, no, and that's so right. We always think about, especially during the holidays, there's a lot of food and a lot of times where we're faced with that. And I think that's also where we come back to, being kind to yourself and allowing yourself to enjoy. And I know it's a saying that is oversaid, but I'm going to say it anyway. But everything in moderation. I truly believe too that, sometimes we, not to say I'm not going to have anything, because it also sets ourselves up for often failure, right? And setting unrealistic expectations around things. But, allow yourself, say, I'm going to have this. This is what brings me joy. I'm going to have the treat, and not feeling like, okay, now I have to double up my workout. I think it's that balance.
And I would also add, practicing self-compassion when you fall out of that routine. And if you end up eating those 10 cookies or a few more glasses of spiked eggnog, it's okay.
It's okay.
Right? It's not gonna ruin your body or your health. And the next day, as Laurie-Sue said, just you reset. Every moment is a new moment to make a choice.
Are there specific ways within the Y or services, programs, all types of stuff like that, that could assist in kind of those different areas?
I think, as we were talking about, finding time and schedules, and sometimes there's this changing. And I think one of the things is Y360 that we have, YMCA 360, which is our virtual health and wellness portal. So it has, workout videos that you can do ranging from those, 5-10 minutes to 20 to 30, whatever you have. So, if you can't make it to the Y, you can always do something at home as well. You can pull it up on your phone or your smart TV. It also actually has some great things for meditation. I think, definitely there's classes at the Y as well. That can help support where you're at in your journey, in your health and wellness journey as well. So along that same, line, it's, we have various exercise classes ranging, from 30 minutes, 45 to an hour, from meditation to, cardio HIIT and everywhere in between. So, I think there's something for everyone, depending on what your needs are and what you're looking for sure. One of the things that the Y does, if you are, new to fitness, for example, or just even new to the Y and you're not aware of, what we offer or what the facility may be like, a great way to start is with our orientations. I would always recommend to people if, they're new to the Y, even if you aren't new to fitness, but you may not know what the Y provides, it's a great way to learn about that.
One thing I love about the Y is that there's so many different options, right? There's the pool, there's individual workout facilities. You can join a class, different types of classes. And I think you had shared the other day that even day to day, things can change. Like today, I might need to be quiet. I might want to work up by myself, but tomorrow I might want to be with people. And I could always do a class that day. And I think that self-awareness and checking in with yourself to say, like, what do I need today? And to know that the Y, for the most part, I think we can offer almost anything you need.
Do you think like that kind of sense of community makes a difference, especially when you could already be struggling with mental wellness and physical wellness, in that sense of community that the Y itself has? Do you think that's beneficial in any way?
I think it's hugely beneficial, Maria. I know I think we've all heard about the loneliness epidemic in the US, and this time of year can be especially hard. And it's also hard when you're feeling lonely to take those steps to get to the Y. But I feel like if we can do that, just remember that the Y is intended to be a community center, right? And so getting to a class, even if you try to go to the same class a couple of weeks in a row, you will get to know people. You will see the same faces there. And working up the courage to say hello to somebody, I think is huge. I know a lot of our instructors will try to encourage that.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people hanging out at the Y after their classes. Some of our Ys have little cafes, having a cup of coffee or a smoothie or something. I love seeing that in our Ys.
I agree, Ranjeev, what you mentioned about, community and just finding that here at the Y in various ways. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy, group fitness so much. It's what got me into teaching it in the first place years ago. When I first started, it was just that sense of that when you walk in the door and you have other people there as well, and you can get motivated from them and feel the energy from each other. And, I think that's such an important part of it as well. And, it sometimes can be difficult to, as you mentioned, get to the Y and sometimes just feeling like wanting to participate and go to a class. But once you start going, it's so welcoming, and other members love to have new members come, and, they'll often go up and introduce themselves, and which is really great. I feel like there's that sense of commonality and people feel like they're all there.
I feel like there's also a community that gets built up between Y staff members and Y members. Laurie-Sue, did you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Personally, I can speak to that as well. I mean, the friendships that I formed with the members of the Y, has been amazing, and lasting. Meeting different members and getting different perspectives, and is really what keeps me wanting to keep teaching. I look for them in the class, and when they're not there, I tell them, I notice, and I miss their presence and miss them being there. And so, I think we get so much from them just as much as they get from us, and it really is such a community all around.
Do you mind talking about a little bit more between the intersection of physical wellness and mental wellness and how they interact and are kind of one and the same almost?
Sure. I often say, coming back to the class again is, take a moment to set your intention and set your goal for class. I think, there's that mind-body connection no matter what we're doing. Sometimes we often think of it just with, yoga and our mind-body studio classes and stuff, but it's really in whatever we're doing, and I think that being more present, and taking care of yourself, I think self-care and making sure you're taking the time, not just with fitness, but with sleep, hydration, food, everything, it can help us to be more clear and more present. And, I often say you have to put on your oxygen mask first before you can help anyone else, and I think that's all part of it, right? Is, the more that we're taking care of ourselves, I think it affects our mental well-being.
I couldn't agree more, Laurie. So I think for me also, I really think about whole person wellness. And for myself, I know that when I exercise, my mood is improved. Like the endorphins, the serotonin, all those things, all the feel-good brain chemicals get kicked in. But also when I practice more mental health, like meditation or relaxation techniques, then there's a huge impact. Like my body feels less tense, I sleep better, and all the research shows that our immune systems are healthier, our cardiovascular health is healthier when we practice stress reduction techniques. I think really there's such a overlap between those two, both the physical and mental health. And when I joined the Y last year, I was also so excited to learn that our mission talks about healthy living for mind, body, and spirit.
Are there any resources that either of you have for these tough times of year outside of the Y?
There are two, Maria, that I always recommend. One is the Massachusetts Behavioral Health Helpline. And that number, I can read that number off. It's 833-773-2445. So 833-773-2445. And that's anywhere in Massachusetts where if you're struggling, if you're feeling lonely, or you're dealing with grief or substance use or depression, whatever it is, if you call or text that number, you will get a response right away. And they're open 24/7. And around the nation, around the US, we now have this number 988, which is the suicide and crisis lifeline. And again, you can text, you can call, and if you're in a struggling with a mental health issue, a substance health issue, they will respond right away. So those are two really good resources. So the 988 and then 833-773-2445. Both really, really important resources here.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to touch upon? Any final thoughts?
I just want to say, just to remember during this time of giving and to others is to remember to be kind to ourselves, and to take care of ourselves. I know we've talked about that a lot right now, but, I think it's so important to, you can't help others unless you're taking care of yourself as well. And so not to think of it as a selfish way but it's okay to as well,
My biggest thing, Maria, is self-compassion around these holidays. There's some really good research, and there's one particular teacher, Kristen Neff, who talks a lot about self-compassion, and she has 3 components. It's mindfulness, just sort of being aware of what's going on for yourself. Self-kindness, which Laurie-Sue, you just talked about, but she also talks about common humanity, just to know that we're not alone in this. Like, a lot of people struggle this time of year. And just to remind ourselves that this is part of the human condition and that we are not alone. A lot of folks are struggling. And in some ways, it can feel nice to know that you're with other people who are also struggling. And, so self-compassion is probably the most important thing that I would say.
Well, I just wanted to thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate you both being here, and I hope everyone has a happy holiday and a restful winter.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Ranjeev. Happy holidays.
Yeah.